Hey guys, Tom here. Welcome to my WWE Hell in a Cell 2016 review. What did you guys think of the show? Comment your thoughts down below. I will read every single comment. I want to know what you guys thought about this year's Hell in a Cell. Also, remember to smash the likes. That'd be absolutely awesome. Let's get in to my review. So, I'm kind of mixed feelings about Hell in a Cell because the only match I was really looking forward to on this pay-per-view was Sasha Banks against Charlotte, and in my opinion, that match delivered. I really enjoyed it. Some people didn't like it at all. I thought it was pretty good, but the rest of the card wasn't so great. Seth Rollins against Kevin Owens was pretty damn awesome. The rest of the matches, they weren't that great, but I went into this Hell in a Cell pay-per-view only looking forward to Sasha Banks against Charlotte, and that match delivered. So for me, I don't really have many complaints. The match I was looking forward to was good. So the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, I got everything from it that I wanted to get from it. But let's talk about everything. There were some good bits, there were some bad bits. Let's talk about it. So Hell in a Cell started with the first of three main events. Roman Reigns taking on Rusev for the United States Championship. Wasn't really looking forward to this match at all. I kind of felt like this feud is just boring now. It's been going on since SummerSlam. Literally, this feud has been going on for about 3 months now, and I felt they egged it a little bit to bring it all the way up until Hell in a Cell. I thought the feud was kind of dead at Clash of Champions, and then they just extended the feud another 4 weeks to Hell in a Cell, and it kind of proved itself in this match, which we just didn't care. I didn't really like this match at all. I thought it was a really bad way to start the pay-per-view. Your opening match needs to be fast-paced, it needs to be interesting, it needs to be something people care about. I didn't care about it. It wasn't very fast-paced. It was a Hell in a Cell match, so you would have thought it would have had something special about it, but like many of the matches on this pay-per-view, there wasn't really anything special about it. They were sort of going through the motions, hitting each other into the cell, stuff like that, but nothing really special happened. The only really special thing which happened was when Rusev got the chain. He got Roman Reigns in the accolade with the chain, and this was in like the final 30 seconds, and we waited a good 15 minutes to get anything that was really that interesting. So Rusev got Roman Reigns in the chain with the accolade, which looks great. Then we got a Samoan drop on the steel steps, which I thought was really, really cool. Then we got a spear from the steel steps, and he flew into the air. Thought that was a really cool finish, but the rest of the match, it didn't feel special at all. There was nothing about this match which interested me. I wasn't really too bothered about the feud anyway. So Roman Reigns is still United States Champion, which I think is the good decision, because nobody wants to see Rusev take the title back. Then we get a rematch between Reigns and Rusev again. This feud hasn't been that good, so I'm glad that Roman Reigns is retained, and hopefully he can move on to somebody else. Bayley against Dana Brooke followed the Roman Reigns and Rusev match. Was this the right match to kind of follow the first one? I'm not particularly sure it was, because Roman Reigns and Rusev, it should have been fast-paced. It should have been the opening match which people remember and get the crowd hot. And then that match didn't really deliver. And then we got Dana Brooke against Bayley, the match people were least looking forward to. So 2 matches in a row, which were not that interesting. For me, this match was actually alright. I thought Dana Brooke played the heel really well in this match. This was a much better match than Dana Brooke and Bayley had a few weeks ago on Monday Night Raw. Dana Brooke was a really good heel in this match. I actually thought the match ended a little bit too soon. I thought Bayley hit the belly-to-belly suplex very, very quickly, and the match was over just like that. I thought it had a good 5 minutes left in it. It kind of ended really, really quickly. For me, Bayley getting the win, I'm not sure if I'm too happy about that. I mean, I think Dana Brooke's still got a long way to go to prove that she is going to stay in this women's division and she is going to go places on Monday Night Raw. For me, Dana Brooke needed the win more, but Bayley's popular. People love Bayley, so I can kind of see why they gave her the win here. Overall, it was an alright match. So the club taking on Enzo Amore and Big Cass. What I found the most funny thing about this match was that Michael Cole and the whole commentary team spent the whole match kind of trying to build up the club, like They're one of the greatest tag teams in the world right now. I mean, it's a bit rich considering you just had them lose to the New Day about 3 times in a row for the tag team titles. The club were well and truly buried before this match, so why are they starting to build them up now when they should have started to build them up about 3 months ago? But this match, like many of the other matches on the pay-per-view, had nothing special in it. It was very mediocre, very Monday Night Raw-esque, not very pay-per-view worthy, pretty pathetic match. I didn't get anything out of this, so 3 matches in and nothing really interesting has happened yet. So I'm pretty happy that the club did get the win. Finally, they get a pay-per-view win. Enzo Amore and Big Cass did not need the win here, and the club definitely needed the win over Enzo and Cass here. The club, oh my god, they should have been tag team champions already, so a win here maybe will put them on the right track. They need to be taken seriously, so this did a good job of kind of helping to take the club seriously. Enzo and Cass are pretty popular, so a loss here, it doesn't harm them at all. I just want to say the promo Enzo and Cass did before the match just confuses me. I'm not sure if it's because I'm not from America, I'm not from Boston. I just didn't understand anything Enzo and Cass were saying, so I don't really know why people were cheering. Did anybody else kind of feel that? So we got the second main event, the Hell in a Cell match between Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. This was the second best match of the night, of course. I wasn't that looking forward to this match. I felt like Chris Jericho had been carrying the feud. Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins were kind of second place to Chris Jericho for a lot of the build-up towards this match, but overall, it pleasantly surprised me. Thought this was actually pretty good. They had some great chemistry. This match was better than the one they had at Clash of Champions, which is great. I thought there were 2 really good spots in this match. One where Seth Rollins powerbombed Kevin Owens through 2 tables. That was awesome. And also the ending where Kevin Owens powerbombed Seth Rollins through 2 steel chairs. That was a great ending to the match. Overall, this was a pretty decent Hell in a Cell match. Certainly not the best Hell in a Cell match ever, but it served a purpose. Kevin Owens is still champion. They're still sort of suggesting Chris Jericho is going to turn on Kevin Owens. And I don't think Seth Rollins is really... His face turn hasn't been that great. He hasn't, to me, solidified his role as a baby face, so it didn't really make sense to put the title on Seth Rollins here. Kevin Owens is still champion, and I don't have any issues with that. Rollins is going to start a feud with Triple H very, very soon, so he needs to be out of the title picture very quickly. I can understand why people might be a little bit disappointed Triple H didn't turn up to this, but we are still like 6 months away from WrestleMania, so there's a long way to go yet. But Chris Jericho did turn up, and the crowd loved it. They were chanting Chris Jericho when he came out. It was great. Now, I really liked how they actually got Chris Jericho out there. Kevin Owens accidentally fired the fire extinguisher in the referee's eyes. You didn't really know if it was real or fake. So one of the referees opened the door and the referee went out the door, and then Chris Jericho got in the match. I thought that was a pretty unique way to get Chris Jericho in the ring. It was slightly predictable at the same time, but it was sort of nice predictable, because why wouldn't Chris Jericho, the most popular thing on Monday Night Raw, not be on the pay-per-view? So it was cool to see Chris Jericho get in the ring, the 2 heels beating down on Seth Rollins to get the win. Solid match. Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins have some decent chemistry. This feud hasn't really been that great though, so I'm kind of glad that Kevin Owens retained here, and hopefully he can move on to something else for Survivor Series. Cruiserweight Championship match time. TJ Perkins against the Brian Kendrick. I've kind of seen mixed opinions about this match. I thought this match was actually pretty good. I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot better than their match at Clash of Champions. I thought their match at Clash of Champions was a bit messy. It was a bit botchy. But this one felt good. It felt like their chemistry really showed in this match. Some great pacing. I kind of have a question as to why they bother putting the purple ropes, putting the logo on the ring apron, and all that stuff. What's the point? I don't get that. It kind of makes it feel like the Cruiserweight division is something separate to Monday Night Raw. I don't know why they put in so much effort to change the colour of the ropes and stuff like that. Just leave it. It doesn't matter. But anyway, the match itself was a bit of a big shocker. I never thought Brian Kendrick was going to win the Cruiserweight Championship here, so it was really nice to see. We're going to get another Brian Kendrick title run, which is amazing. Whoever thought that was going to happen? in 2016. TJ Perkins is really popular, so I thought he was going to retain here. So really nice to see not one but two title changes on this pay-per-view, and Brian Kendrick is Cruiserweight Champion. I thought it was a brilliant way to do it. The build-up to this match was pretty good, where Brian was trying to kind of convince TJ to give him the win. But he's such a bitch, isn't he, Brian Kendrick? But he plays the bad guy so well. So he was on the ground pretending he was hurt. TJ kind of showed a bit of emotion, a bit of connection with Brian. And then Brian hits the headbutt, the captain's hook in, new Cruiserweight Champion. And they played it off perfectly. Great ending to the match. And new champion. Huge shocker. Tag Team Championship match, Xavier Woods and Big E against Cesaro and Sheamus. Not very impressed with this match, and it got a hell of a lot of time as well. It got, a good 10 to 15 minutes, and it ended in disqualification. When you invest that much time in a match, you expect a great finish, and we got a DQ finish, which wasn't that good. In a match I wasn't even looking forward to anyway, to end like that is pretty disappointing. Now, we all know the New Day are going to be the longest reign of all time in a few months, but did they really need to end the match like this to protect Cesaro and Sheamus? I'm not that keen on the Cesaro and Sheamus tag team anyway, so why did they put in so much effort to protect them and not give them the loss? I mean, to invest so much time in this match to end in DQ, surely they could have thought of something a little bit more unique. It just felt a bit pathetic. Anyway, main event time, and yes, the women did main event a pay-per-view, and it was a Hell in a Cell match. Monumental, history-making night. I'm so glad they main evented this show, because this was the match I was looking forward to. It was the only match I was looking forward to, so for me it was the main event, and it was the main event, which was amazing. This was fantastic. Now, some people didn't like this match. I thought it was great. It was amazing. This feud just gets better and better every single week. So the match kind of didn't really get started at the beginning because the cell didn't lower and they started fighting near the announcer's table. Sasha Banks gets powerbombed through the announcer's table and she starts crying, and we didn't really know if it was a work or not. We didn't know if it was real or fake. It was a bit hard to tell, but the longer it went on, it kind of became apparent they were doing the Mankind and Undertaker thing where she was getting taken out on the stretcher. She'd refused to leave. Yeah, it went on for a little bit too long. It was kind of nice in practice to do it, but it kind of felt a bit stupid because it went on for quite a long time. And also, she was, to put somebody on a stretcher, you need to be in a pretty bad condition. But then she sort of ran in the ring and seemed absolutely fine after that. But the match itself got very, very physical. I mean, what? This was so brutal, and it was a huge sort of nice feel and change to a women's match. It was brutal. It was freaking mental. This was the Hell in a Cell match you wanted to see by buying this pay-per-view. This was fucking crazy. Charlotte was throwing Sasha Banks everywhere. So brutal, physical, but they put so much effort to make this match feel violent. It was great. I mean, I wouldn't say this was the best Charlotte and Sasha Banks match they've had, but at least it felt different to the other ones. And this was the Hell in a Cell you wanted to see. I mean, Roman Reigns against Rusev was a pretty pathetic compared to this one. This was freaking physical. And they put in so much work. They put on an incredible match to make it look as physical and as damaging and as sort of meaningful as possible. They put in so much effort, and that's all you need. And this proved to me women can main event pay-per-views, and that was the important thing. This was, for me, the best match on the pay-per-view. It was incredible. I liked it. Some people didn't like it. I can kind of agree that the finish kind of felt a little bit weird. So Sasha Banks got thrown into the table. She slid off, she rolled off, and then the next minute, natural selection, and Charlotte wins. So I can see why people are a bit confused, because after all the brutality Charlotte put Sasha through, the natural selection is the thing that beats her, which kind of didn't really make a lot of sense. But also, I kind of liked it because it added to the shock value. I didn't think there was any chance Charlotte was going to win in Boston, in Sasha's hometown. But for her to win out of nowhere with a natural selection was surprising. It was a huge shock. And I think they did that on purpose. For me, it worked. For some people, they didn't like it. They thought it was a bit anticlimactic. For me, I thought it came out of nowhere, and it was a huge shocker. Yeah, great match. Everything I hoped it would be. We didn't get a moonsault off the top of the cage. I'm kind of glad about that, because I think Charlotte would probably have injured herself very, very badly. I mean, I can kind of see why people are a bit disappointed with the finish. You know, we got rumours of a moonsault or maybe a crazy frog splash from somewhere. So to end it in a natural selection is a bit anticlimactic. But overall, this was a really violent match, and it felt great. But props to WWE for making this the main event. So what did you guys think of the main event? What did you think of the rest of the matches? It's really hard to call because I really enjoyed Sasha Banks against Charlotte. Pretty much enjoyed Seth Rollins against Kevin Owens. I thought that was a pretty good match. TJ against Brian Kendrick was okay, pretty decent. The rest of the undercard was pretty shit, so it's kind of tough to call, because I would have considered Sasha against Charlotte an 8 or 9 out of 10. I would have considered Rollins against Owens probably an 8 out of 10. The rest of the card, maybe a 4 out of 10. So do I give it a 6? Do I give it a 7? I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. I thought the main event was amazing. The rest of the card was sort of lackluster, and a lot of the matches didn't really feel pay-per-view worthy or special. What did you guys think? Comment your thoughts down below. I'll read every single comment. Smash the likes. Take care. Spike your hair.